Hello and good morning. Welcome to Morning Yoga with Kathy. Let's get started. Opening up our feet here about a little bit more than our hip distance. We're going to bring our hands to our hips. We're going to push our hips forward, over to the side, behind us, and we're just going to make a nice big circle here. It's a beautiful way to create a little bit of mobility and movement in our spine, in our hamstrings here. And then we're just going to hit that Uno reverse and go in the opposite direction. Now remember to breathe. I, as a rule of thumb, like to inhale as I'm opening up, standing up, and exhale as I lean forward. Now we're going to tuck in those hoodie strings. I'm going to turn to the front of my mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. I'm just going to pedal it out here in my forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Stepping back and moving over my yoga mat. Coming into a plank. All the way down and opening up into an upward facing dog. Pushing back into our child's pose here, bringing our hips back towards our heels and just rocking a little bit side to side. Taking a couple of breaths here. Now coming into our cat-cow, I'm just going to look up, drop that navel down and curl in, bringing that navel into the back of the spine here. You can take this at your own pace, fast or slow. Pushing back into our downward dog here. Coming into a plank. Lowering down our knees, chest, chin, scooping through here into our upward facing dog. Relaxing those shoulders away from our ears. Pushing back into our child's pose here. Back into our tabletop. We're just going to lift that left leg in our fire hydrant and then make nice big circles. Fire hydrant, push back, bring it in. Fire hydrant, push back, bring it in. Reverse, back. Fire hydrant and in. Back. Fire hydrant and in. One more here. And let's switch. Fire hydrant, back, in. Fire hydrant, back, in. One more before we hit that reverse. Bring it in and back. Fire hydrant, in, back. Fire hydrant and in. Last one. Very nice. Now we're just going to look over towards our ankle here, creating a nice stretch in the side body. And over. Make sure those toes stay tucked under here. Just pushing back in towards our downward dog, keeping those knees bent here. Lengthening that spine, and then let's go ahead and pedal it out. Just bringing one knee into the chest and then the other. Lengthening and bending. We're going to lift that left leg, three-legged dog. And then we're going to create a nice big circles, opening that hip. Same thing that we did while we were on our tabletop, but it's a little bit more exaggerated. Remember to breathe. Hit that Uno reverse. Opening up those hips. Let's bring that knee into the chest. Plant that foot in between the palms here. We're going to lower down that back knee. Now, you might need your blocks for this. You might not. Just have them in case, especially if this is your first time. Inching those toes towards the front of the mat, I'm going to allow my hip to come in towards that ankle. Again, you can have your blocks and set them to whatever level that you need here. Or interlace those fingers, press against that thigh, open up the heart, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears here. just going to lengthen that leg, maybe using the blocks, maybe bringing your hands down towards the mat. And again, you can change the level of your block so that you can get that stretch in the back of your hamstring here. Trying to keep a nice long spine. Try not to curl in. Lengthening from the base of the spine through the crown of our head. And now we're just going to do a few rock and roll here. So we're going to bring it in and lengthen. Bringing it in, inhaling and exhaling. Moving the block out of the way for now. So if you need a variation, you can see how we can rock back and forth without using our blocks here. Now, I'm going to lengthen that back leg, push back, come into a plank, lower those knees, chest, chin, lifting up our heart, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Paddling it out, and just noticing the difference from our left side and our right side. Lifting up that opposite leg here, opening up the hip, and then making nice big hip circles here by dropping that knee down and then lifting it all the way up towards the ceiling, or as much as we can this morning. And we're doing 3 on one side and hitting that uno reverse, going in the opposite direction. Bringing that knee into the chest, planting it in between the palms here, lowering that back knee. Inhaling, coming up, inching those toes forward, and then bringing the hips in towards the ankles. Taking any variation that works for you here, whether using your blocks or interlacing those fingers and opening up your heart here. Lengthening that right leg and then bringing those hands either down onto the blocks or onto our mat. Remember to breathe here. Let's go ahead and take our rock and roll. Lengthening and bringing it in. Lengthening and bringing it in. Remember to breathe. Trying to keep that spine as long as possible. Very nice. Getting a nice stretch in the hips and in the hamstrings. We're going to shoot that leg back and come in towards our child's pose, rocking left and right here. Remember to breathe. A lot of times we start moving our bodies and start holding our breath. We're going to push back in towards our downward dog. Taking a couple of breaths here. Then we're going to bring our legs in side to side to the sides of our palms. If this is too much for you here, you can either use your blocks by holding onto them or bringing them underneath and taking a seat on our blocks, pressing our elbows in towards our knees to open up those hips. Now this is me just turning to the side to show you what I am pressing those elbows in towards the knees to open up the hips. I'm turning back so that I can step back and bring it back in. So this is the movement that we are taking here. Press down, push back, plank, bring it in. Ooh, remember to breathe. Forward fold. Bend those knees. Forward fold. Bend those knees. Forward fold. Inhale, flat back, long spine, forward fold. Press those palms. Now we're going to leave our right hand on the ground. We're going to bend the left knee here, and we're going to extend that left arm, either using a block or keeping our hand down on the ground. And we're going to switch. This time we're going to lengthen that left leg, bend that right knee, leave that left hand down, and extend the right arm in a twist. Getting a nice twist here and forward fold. Taking a couple of breaths here. And on the inhale, we're just going to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae until we allow the chin to be the last thing to arrive. Now, I'm going to bring my chin into my chest, and I'm going to allow myself to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, allowing myself to really stretch out those hamstrings here. And now, once our knees really start bending, that's when we want to stop this roll down. A couple more times there. On the exhale, tuck in and roll down. Pausing wherever you feel your knees are starting to bend. We really want to allow our spine to roll down and create a nice lengthening in our body here. Here we go, last one. Tuck it in, rolling down. Maybe going a little bit slower than we're going here. Great thing about this is that you can pause and stay in any movement that you would like for a little bit longer. Last one. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer now. What we're going to do is that we're going to bend our knees just a little bit, letting our knees touch our chest, and then we can allow our head to shake up and down, saying yes, and then side to say no. Letting our spine grow down towards the ground. Inhaling to roll up. Arms up. Palms together. Exhale, forward fold. I'm going to move my block here. Press my palms and step back. Plank. Knees, chest, chin. Upward facing dog, and you can take any variation of chaturanga here. Downward dog. Now I'm going to bring my right knee into my chest, plant that foot in between the palms. I'm going to lift the right arm, coming into a little bit of a twist here, and on the exhale I'm just going to bring it through needle and thread, trying to keep that left knee as long as possible and bringing it through. One more time, lift and bring it through here. Maybe inching those fingers forward. Inhale to lift. Framing that right foot. Push back. Knees, chest, chin. Scoop through. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Bringing that left knee into the chest, planting it in between the palms. Leaving that right hand down, extending that left arm, trying to get a nice stretch here and keeping that right knee nice and long. We needle and thread and lift. Needle and thread and lift. Last one. Inching those fingers a little bit closer to the wall for me in this case. And lift. Framing that left leg. Plank. Lower down. Upward facing dog and child's pose. I'm just taking a couple of breaths here. Rolling through, dropping the hips, opening the heart, upward facing dog. Looking over to one ankle, over to the opposite ankle. Push back. Right before we hit our child's pose, we roll through, drop the hips down, open up the heart, roll and roll. Maybe a little bit deeper this time. Push back, roll through, drop the hips down, and roll and roll. Just getting a little bit deeper every single time here. Opening up the heart and pushing back. Letting our head come down towards the mat here, extending those arms towards the top of the mat. Coming into a tabletop. I'm going to reach my arms forward, and then I'm going to drop my chest down as much as I can here. And then I'm going to round, just like in cat-cow. Breathing here, rounding my back. And then I'm going to release, allowing my chest to come all the way down towards the mat. If it's available, maybe even bringing the chest to the mat and opening up through the throat, letting our chin come down towards the mat and looking to the top of our mat. Taking a couple of breaths here until we eventually allow ourselves to shoot our hips back, child's pose, and slowly roll up, coming into sitting. Now I'm going to prepare myself by grabbing a block and taking a seat here, doing a little bit of neck rolls, just like in the very beginning when we did our hip openers, creating mobility in our spine. We're going to create a little bit more mobility in our necks, making nice big circles, nice and slow. Nice big round circles. Bringing our chin all the way down towards our chest. And finally, coming up, arms up, palms together, down to heart center. Arms up, palms together, down to heart center. Last one, inhale, arms up, palms together, down to heart center. Thank you for taking the time to share your beautiful practice here with me today. Hope you have a beautiful morning.